Bonjour peeps. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page for the daily live streams that I do around the card draw that I do in the mornings. And also that we share on the Instagram business account for Star Nations. And today is Saturday, November 17th. Yeah, and it's actually a really kind of nice day. It's overcast, but you know, hey, it's not that cold out. You dress for it and it can be fun. George and I were just outside just before we came up here to the academy and playing fetch and running around the yard and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's nice. If you have boots on and a winter jacket and a hat on, it's good to go. You might hear George in the background. He's awake. He hasn't fallen asleep yet, and he's playing, so you might hear him in the background. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle's here. Good to see you, Rochelle. And Mervyn Kelly. Nellie's here. Good evening to you, Mervyn. It's always good to have you in the chat. And Jackie's here with us too. Good, good, good. And Stephanie's here. Yay. Good afternoon, Jackie. Yeah. Rochelle is saying, she's saying, hello, Neshi. 19 years ago, I saw a UFO. Yeah, those are times you never forget, is it? You never forget them. I think the last time I saw one, I was with Paul, and we were coming back from La Crosse, taking Highway 16, not the interstate, right? And so we're kind of out in farmland country, dairyland country. And it was, I think, September, not last year, but maybe a couple years ago. And we're driving along, and there was this large white streak of light that went from the left to the right in front of us. It was up in the sky, but you couldn't miss it, right? And it was like, for a second, it was like quiet. And yeah. And then we said, did you see that? Do you think what that was what I thought it was? And I said, of course it was. Why wouldn't it be? You know, and we get to see it. How cool is that? Julie's here too. Julie Shumway Hill. Good to see you in the chat. George is investigating. Can see the thought process. It's like, okay, no, you can't have that. And Stephanie says, can y'all send some positive energy to my ex? He's having a rough go. Arlington, Texas. Dustin. His name is Dustin. Of course we can. That would be our pleasure, or my pleasure, I should say. I shouldn't talk for everybody, right? But we can certainly send Dustin some loving energy. Angels of the most appropriate realm to him, to assist him however he needs help. Yeah. You know, everybody needs a helping hand every once in a while, right? Yeah. That's good. Thank you. You know, and mine was just I think it was Tuesday. Could have been Monday. I don't know. Remember when I was sharing that I had that headache? Yeah. Actually, Mervyn was one of the people sending me Reiki, and it was definitely thankful for it and appreciative because it made a difference. It made a difference. So, yeah. So Dustin, hopefully he'll feel the energy flowing his way. Yeah. George, can you see George? There he is. He's looking out the French doors out to the deck. Yeah, every once in a while there's a squirrel that goes across the railing. So I hope that doesn't happen because he'll be barking. So, all right. Julie's saying hello. And Rochelle said, I ran out towards the river and motioned for them to come down. I'm jumping, yelling. I can just imagine you doing that too, Rochelle. You know, well, it certainly was, you know, not everyone gets to see those UFOs, right? Not everybody. Not everybody gets to see Bigfoot either. My spiritual team is so funny, and they say not everybody gets to serve on jury duty. They're so funny because I really want to do that. I want to serve on jury duty, and I've gotten the chance twice, right? Once here and I call it elusive. It's like, does it really exist? And the case that they were looking for jury members for was settled out of court, so didn't have to go. It was on the list for a year, never got called. Yeah, and when I worked for Shawano County here in Wisconsin, when I was a child support specialist, every once in a while the clerk would come down and round up people because they needed to have so many people sitting on jury selection. And it wasn't so much that we were going to get selected, it was just they needed to be able to do that so that they could select the jury. And so every once in a while we'd have to go upstairs and, we'd say, does anybody know, the attorneys? Yes. And so as soon as you raise your hand for that, you're out. So I never got the chance to serve. That's why I put it into the category of Sasquatch and UFOs. My team's got a sense of humor. You're welcome, Stephanie. And yep, Rochelle's going to send Reiki to Dustin. Nice. That's very nice. All right. So before we get started with the cards, I'm going to share and like the live stream. And I'd appreciate it if you could do the same, if you're so inclined. It's not mandatory for certain. No, nothing's ever mandatory. It takes out the fun. All right, here we go. We're going to like and we're going to share. Just takes a moment to do. And I'm going over to my newsfeed first. Hello, George. Ow. Yeah. Okay, off. Okay, here we go. Off. Good boy. All right. So, hello, friends. I'm live streaming. I say that every day, don't I? And then please join me. Oops. Please join me. There we go. There's one. And now we'll do the other one. And I'm sharing to two groups. I'm sharing to the closed groups for Star Nations. One is the Academy, and the other one is for the radio and live stream. We used to be Blog Talk Radio over a year ago, and when we switched over to the live stream, I just kept the Star Nations Radio Network because everybody knew who that was. Will we ever change the name for that? Probably, but not right now. And I'm live streaming. Oops. I am. Oh, you know what? My quick keys aren't as quick because I had to update my phone. So it's taking me just a little bit longer. And please join me. There we go. Good. Done and done. Oops. Go away. There we go. There. You get so used to the quick keys, it's almost like a habit, right? And when you don't have them, you actually have to spell something out. It's like, it slows you down. But I had to update my phone. It was this morning. Yeah. And so when you do that, sometimes, you wonder why you even did it, because you lose some stuff along the way. Yeah. And so Rochelle's saying, I can relate. I had two opportunities, but I knew the prosecutor. It was unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah. I know I probably romanticize it, but I've always wanted to experience that. And, the opportunities come up. I get close and I don't get selected. One, I couldn't get selected, and the other one, they settled out of court. So I guess it's just not in my experience this time around, I guess. I don't know. And Julie shared and Stephanie shared. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate that. Hey, Rosina. Good to see you in the chat. Glad you're here. For those people who are relatively new listening or watching the live stream, especially if you're watching the recorded version, right? The recorded version. This is the deck that we're using. And it's Angels and Ancestors Oracle Cards by Kyle Gray and illustrated. The artwork is by Lily Moses. Yeah. It's a relatively new deck because it was published in 2018 and released in September. And I had found it on Amazon.com. There's several people in the chat, live chat, who are familiar with Kyle Gray. I didn't know he existed until September or end of August. And so I was looking for a deck that had more of a Native American slant to it. And if I couldn't find one relatively new kind of card deck, because I have several that are Native American inspired, let's say that. But there's some out there that aren't very good. And so I think I have the best ones out there already that have been published for a long time. But this one kind of jumped off the screen at me, and so I ordered it, and I'm glad I did because I really enjoy it. All right, so here's the first card, and we've not gotten this card before. Hi, Catherine McElroy, brand new. Yeah, brand new. And yeah, everybody's saying hello to everybody. Jacqueline is here too. Jacqueline de Lamare? No, that would be wrong. Lamare, maybe? So hello. I'm so glad you guys are with us this afternoon. This is the first card that was drawn. And every morning I meet with my spiritual team and I ask them, the intention is set, is to show me the energy that's most important for us to know about today, for our highest good, and that we can share with others, right? And so this is the first card that came. White Witch, be the light. Be the light. Now, it's a very interesting image, don't you think? The first thing that caught my eye, of course, was the owl. The owl. And it's got horns. Not horns. They're like, well, I guess they are horns. Let me see. Actually, you know what they look like is like branches. Branches. Yeah. So it's not a great horned owl, but it does have branches. And above his head is the pentagram, right? In her hair, she's got a butterfly. And if you look closely, she has a symbol right next to the owl right here. It's the wing of a butterfly. Yeah, and she's got grapevines and grapes. It looks like grapes anyway. I don't know. Who's a good botanist that can identify plant leaves? It looks grape to me. Okay. Be the light. White Witch. Yeah. You know, in Star Nations, we have a couple of contributing writers to the magazine, Star Nations magazine. One is Carla Jo Worth, and she writes under the column The Eclectic Pagan's Journey. And she's a solitary witch. And her columns are very, I want to say educational, right? Educational. And then she also adds items like ritual information. Yeah. And so she really is teaching about her belief system, right? About being a pagan and being a Wiccan. And so, but she's a solitary witch. And we just began, it's a brand new column, and it's called The Witch's Cauldron. And the author, the writer, contributing writer for that column is Adrienne Campbell. And she too is a solitary witch, but her focus and her strength, her gifts lie with the herbs. And so that's the perspective and the intent for her column, is to teach us about a solitary witch, Wiccan, from the herbal point of view. Yeah, fantastic. And when I saw this card, my thoughts went to them, of course. But with the message, be the light, be the light. How often have we heard to shine your light, right? You can't know the light unless there's darkness. And so when we're going through that dark night of the soul, and we do have the light available to us, yeah, sometimes it takes a while to recognize that, but it's there. Hey, Maureen Mann is with us too in the live chat. Hello, Maureen. It's good to have you in the chat. And yeah, okay. I'm really excited about what's happening in Star Nations because we've got some new things going on. And one of the new things is that we have 2 new contributing writers, and we have an existing live stream host joining the contributing writers. And so we have 3, actually, we'll have 3 new writers starting in January. And yeah, and Maureen is one of them. I'm so excited about it. And we're going to be telling you a lot more about Maureen in a more formal way when we do the introductions, but I'm very excited about it. Maureen is bringing the elements and perspective of angels and mindfulness. And that's just 2 things that she does really, really well. And so, yeah, I can't wait for you guys to experience Maureen. So right now, we're right in the very beginning creation pieces with that, creating mastheads and promotions and that sort of thing. And the second brand new to Star Nations is, his name is Ed Langdon, and he's from the East Coast. And he's going to be a contributing writer, a featured writer quarterly. And his background is law of attraction and super tapping. Yeah. So we're going to offer tapping. I was really, when I talked to him the other day, I was telling him I can't wait for us to be able to do tapping live, right? Yeah. And he's also, of course, he's going to be doing a show as well, a live stream show, and so is Maureen. They're going to have monthly shows. I believe, Maureen, did we say we were going to start you in February, didn't we, the show? I thought so. And Ed is going to start in February or March, his brand new show. So, and both will be monthly. Now, the existing live stream host who's going to have a column is Constance Shearwater. She's the live stream host of the Spiritual Mysteries of Life. So you know what? You guys here with me in the afternoons in, what is it called? The Neshi's Non-Show. Yeah, it's a daily live stream. Is you guys are the first to hear that. Yeah, so I can't wait. Can't wait. Of course, we're right in the very, very beginnings and getting everything created for them and supporting them as they begin this part of their journey with us. And so can't wait to formally welcome them. So anyway, I'm happy to see you in the chat, Maureen. I'm glad you're with us. And Catherine is saying, nice to meet you. It's very nice to meet you too. Jacqueline says, nice to meet you. And Pat McDonald's here too. Yay. And Rochelle says, welcome, Catherine and Jacqueline. Maureen says, January 24th for the show and February for the first article. Thank you. So you can see, you know, we're starting some people almost right at the same time. And without my notes and having so much going on, it's easy to get things kind of switched around. I'm glad you were able to tell me. Well, I didn't bring any of that stuff with me up here for the show because I wasn't going to announce it. But you know what? I just did. All right. So the White Witch. For those who just joined, the White Witch, be the light, be the light. And, you know, and as I was taking in this image, the White Witch actually looks like she's glowing, I think. Glowing. Yeah. There's a lot going on in that picture, that's for sure. All right, so let's see what Kyle, the author, has to say about the White Witch. And page 86. All right, so for the message, it says, take the higher road and choose the light. Remove yourself from lower energy experiences. Choose the light and remove yourself from lower vibrational experiences. When I first read that message, it's like, of course, we're going to agree with that. Who wouldn't want to be in the light, right? especially when you're an energy worker and a light worker, of course. But the second half of that is remove yourself from lower energy experiences. Yes. If we're talking generally speaking, that would be a yes. But there's those of us who do certain kind of energy work that we face those lower vibrational energies. When we do shamanic journey and we're doing soul retrieval or entity removal, those kinds of things, we're facing those low vibrational energies. When we are, how do I want to say this? When there's an incident or an event, such as the fires out in California, such as mass shootings, those kinds of things, right? There are many energy workers and light workers who it's their part of their soul contract, and the work that they do is that they energetically or physically, they head in that direction. Why? So that they can assist, so that they can be of service. And so there are many people who work to help those who crossed over in those situations. They were either shot or they died in the fire, is making sure that they have assistance in going to the light, right? So that they're surrounded by love. And if they're afraid, that we're there to be able to hold their hand, to stand with them. Okay. And a lot of us do this, even when we're driving on the highway and you see an accident, those of us who say a prayer and send angels or protective energy in that direction, right? So yes, generally speaking, you want to remove yourself from lower energy experiences. But there's those of us that's our part of our purpose here is to actually walk into it and to face it. And we do it with a lot of training. We don't do it just because, oh, there it is, let's go do that. Just say that we've done it. No, there's a lot of training that goes with it. And so there's a lot of preparatory work to be able to do that. Okay. So, but generally speaking, if we're dealing with like family situations or sometimes friends situations, and it turns into a drama scene, you know what I mean? Holidays are coming up, right? And sometimes that happens. You're starting to work, especially with families. It's, you're sometimes working out a situation that maybe happened 30 years ago and you're still working on it, or longer. And so sometimes, yes, you do want to walk away, and let it alone. Personally, I think there's a lot of growth in it, in that if we can sit down and talk about it and express ourselves, and even though we might disagree and maybe vehemently disagree, that if you can hang in there and actually be able to at least see or understand their point of view, or at least be able to respect that they have the right to their point of view, right? To agree to disagree. There's still growth in that. A lot of people, though, don't like confrontation. They don't like having those kinds of in-your-face kind of conversations. And I'm not talking about yelling at each other. Let's be a kind of balanced adults about it. to have those conversations. And so there's soul growth in it, but there again, you still have to be prepared. And how do you prepare for that? You're grounded. You're as balanced as you can be. That you speak from your heart, that you use your voice, right? Even though you might be shaken on the inside to state your position or your perspective, but to be able to do that, there's soul growth in that. And sometimes I think that it's better to have that uncomfortable conversation, so at least you know where you both stand. How many times has something happened in your life where you don't even know what happened? It's like they were there and then they were gone, and they never said anything to you about it, or if they did, it was so subtle you missed it, right? And so you're just going to think, what just happened? I thought we were friends, and it's like, now you're gone, and what is that called? Ghosting? Yeah. So, I think that you have to really trust your intuition and come from your heart as best you can, I think, because even with all of that, there is soul growth in there. I love that. So, yeah, and so Jane is saying it's hard to remove yourself in a practical day-to-day way if others around you have those lower energies. Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not easy to do, especially if they're with you every day. Because what do you do? See, personally, and I know that it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not like I started out this way, because I grew into this, okay, is to sit down and have that conversation and to say the things that, rather than repressing it or suppressing it, and it's to find a good way to say it with a good heart, right? And sometimes it's within ourselves that we have to make that decision. What is this really about? And you're talking to your spiritual team. Show me with clarity what this is really about. It's because sometimes we're coming from our ego and we just want to be right. And if that's the case, yeah, walk away because that's just a ticking bomb. But if you're coming from your heart and you truly want to shift the energy if you can, and come to either an agreement would be great, but at least agree to disagree, right? With respect. Yeah, and I know that it's really difficult and it doesn't happen all that often. But you're right, Jane. It is hard to remove yourself in a practical, on a day-to-day situation. Hey, Trina, hello. Yeah, she goes, I love the void 0 point field. I bet you do. And Stephanie says, timing on the card is impeccable as usual. Oh, yeah. You're telling me. Hi, Randy. Randy's waving. And Trina says, aloha, Rochelle and all. Beautiful here now. Yeah. And Catherine is saying, some of us are meant to isolate physically in order to anchor the light globally. Yes. Yes, that's true. That's very true. And when you know that that's your path and that's your soul contract, when you're here, you're still a part of it. It's not like you're completely separate, okay? Because you still have people in your life. You're not sitting on top of a mountain doing this, right? You still have those people that are closest to you that you trust are still there, right? But you're right. There are some people who are meant to be more secluded, and you know who you are. You do. It's those people who are hiding out and not being honest with themselves about that. And it's easier. They think it's easier. They think they're taking the easier path by removing themselves when all their soul growth is over in that other direction. And your spiritual team, spirit, will keep pushing you in that direction, showing you that this is going to happen in a certain way and giving you signs and symbols and synchronicities. And sometimes the cosmic 2x4, because in those choices that you make is soul growth, and that's what we're here to do, right? That's what we're here to do. Catherine says, I feel it all. Yeah, well, it sounds like you're in the right place, Catherine, because there's a whole bunch of empaths in Star Nations, a whole bunch of us. And so we understand each other, right? And we can share the stories, and I'm sure you have your own story to tell, to when we first realized we were an empath and not recognizing it as a gift, and learning how to live your life with it and to be in a good way with it. And so you're not constantly trying to heal from something that you don't even realize that's not yours, right? And so, I'm sure. Hey, Connie, I was just talking about you. Hello, Connie. Connie is our live stream show host of Spiritual Mysteries of Life. And she is one of our elders here at Star Nations. We love Connie. Yeah, and the old, there's an old expression, right, Connie? You're a good egg. We like being around you and love what you have to teach us. And I was just sharing, Connie, is that that you're going to be joining us in contributing writing, and it's not the formal announcement, but there's a whole bunch of good stuff happening in 2019 for us. Yeah. Hey, Anne's here too. Hi, Anne. Catherine says, I was sort of put in a physical timeout. I like that. Physical timeout. I know. I used to say that, and this is probably not what you mean, but, being an entrepreneur and having your own business, and, there's no excuse. The responsibility you can't pass off to anybody. You have to, so sometimes I need an attitude adjustment. And so I have to take myself out to do an attitude adjustment. And yeah, so it's kind of like a physical timeout, sort of. All right, let's see what else Kyle has to say about the White Witch. It's on page 86. Here we go. He says that the White Witch card represents the maiden aspect of the triple goddess of paganism and modern Wicca. The maiden is a gentle, innocent, and pure aspect of the goddess, a loving soul who wants nothing but the best for the whole earth. Here she is joined by a horned owl, showing that she is willing to respect those with more wisdom and experience than she has, but she's also willing to trust what she feels to be right within. With this card, you are being reminded of the goodness within. The goodness within. Yeah. Because we all start out that way. Hey, Anne. Because we all start out that way, right? Yeah. Our innocence, that part of us, is still there. It's still within us. It's kind of covered sometimes with debris, those emotional and mental traumas, that life that we're here to learn about and to master certain things. And so our innocence sometimes gets covered up. And I really believe that in that innocence is also our brightest light, because in our innocence, we love everybody. And we want everybody to be happy, right? And so when we do our own personal healing, we get to remove a lot of that debris from our innocence, and to be able to live from our hearts, and to allow our soul, our heart, to lead in balance with the mind, right? With the mental thoughts. Yeah. Connie says, yes, I'm meditating on ideas. Got some great ideas. Love to y'all. That's great. I love that, Connie. Thank you for sharing that. Kyle goes on to say that no matter what is happening to you or around you, you have a choice. Choose not to be pulled into dramas. bickering, or energies that are just not, or energies that are just going to limit your joy. If you're surrounded by people who are hostile towards you or someone else, or you are in a negative situation, perhaps in your workplace, you're being invited to be the light. You're invited to be the light. You're an incredible person who can really bring light. So how can you change the energy? How can you redirect the conversation to joy? How can you protect yourself? How can you help the person that's being picked on? Or are you the one who is guilty of causing the drama? You will know the answer. Know this, that you are being encouraged to shine the light you were born to share. Very interesting. Because when we're honest with ourselves, there were times when we were the epicenter of that drama, right? And taking responsibility for it. When we recognize it and then take responsibility for it and do the apologies or shift that energy, right? Do a pivot. That's what they call it. It's a pivotal moment. Do a pivot and claim it, because even with that, in that is your soul growth, is that lesson that is going to help you expand and and allow that light to shine even brighter. And you get to know yourself really well, really well. So we can tell the signs within ourselves, in our bodies, what it feels like when those uncomfortable situations start to occur. Like when you see on your caller ID that one person and you go, oh no. You don't even have to say, oh no. You can feel your body tighten up, constrict. And so we have to be honest with ourselves, right? That if we're the ones who started the drama, we got to take responsibility for our portion of that. Our portion. That's part of our healing. That's a part of our lesson. Dirty gotta go. Have a beautiful weekend. Okay, I don't know what that means, but I was so glad you were here, Jane, for as long as you were. And Cindy Ferris just joined us. Hi, Cindy. And so, but when we're not in the epicenter of it, and it's being, and we're being drug into a drama, right? You don't have to be drugged. You don't have to do that. You can say stop. Just stop, and change the topic, change the conversation, leave the room. It's like, you know what? I'll be back when you guys are going to be talking about something a little bit different. I'll be back, and walk away, Or I shouldn't even probably even tell you this, but it crossed my mind, so I may as well say it out loud. When you have friends or family that are gossiping and they're talking about the person that's not in the room, that, right? In the past, this is what I've done, is I've actually asked that one person about talking about, getting the confirmation. She just said that you said that, and I don't believe it. So I'd like to get to the truth on this so that we can just get past this. And it's really between those two people. I have nothing to do with it. Nothing. It's just like, stop. I don't want to hear it. The two of you need to talk. I'm out of it. And wishing them the best, and because I like you both, but I'm not involved in this. And when I've had a situation with another person and we have friends in common or family, I've never liked it when people think that they have to choose sides. There's no sides. There's no sides, because that means that they're a part of it, right? And it's only between those two people, right? So, yeah, I had to learn that one the hard way years and years ago. Uh, Jane says, oops, sorry, gotta go. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day, Jane. I'm so glad you were here. And Jane is replying to Nellie's replying, have a glorious weekend, Jane. Yeah, do that. Yeah, so there's a lot of growth in this, whether you're directly involved or if you're a witness. Because even as a witness, when something's going on, and by your silence, some people would take that as that you agree, right? And so if you do leave the situation, at least let them know why you're leaving if you can, so that it's not being misconstrued as, oh yeah, she left because she didn't like what you were saying, or that she's agreeing with me. Yeah. It's a tough one. It really is, because we have to be honest with ourselves. Yeah. We have to be able to look in the mirror and claim that responsibility for our portion of it if we're directly involved. And if you're a witness, and then you still have to be clear about it, right? A lot of it's about communication, verbal communication. You know what's interesting? I don't know. I got to get you guys input on this one. When the words and the body language don't match, and you're the witness. Because usually the two people that are involved, they're so involved in it, they're not really paying attention to the whole thing that's evolving, or and so that's part of discerning. And sometimes that is the gift that's being given to you as that witness, is watching to see, and you're going, well, wait a minute. Her body language doesn't match what she just said. And so to me, a lot of that has to do with integrity and who's telling the truth. Who's telling the truth? Yeah. Yeah. And the White Witch, the card, the White Witch, because this is what we're talking about right now, is that be in the light. Be in the light. And they're saying, the card is saying that when is to leave, remove yourself from lower energy experiences. I think we learn a lot about communication and discernment, right? Yeah. Catherine, oh, thank you, Rochelle. She says a lot of good words. Catherine's saying there will be times when, because we are standing in the light, those around us who have not shifted will feel uncomfortable and act in negative ways. During these times, try to recognize that and remain on center. You're absolutely right, Catherine. Absolutely right. And and that's what we're talking about, being centered and being grounded. That when we're grounded to Grandmother Earth, right, we can stand stronger in our gifts and in our heart, that we're calmer, and our decisions are better decisions when we're grounded, when we're centered. And chances are that if you're the grounded, centered one, in Catherine's statement here is that sometimes that we make people uncomfortable because of our light. Yeah. Whatever you do, is don't make it smaller just for them. Don't do that. And there's many of us who have experienced that, right? And in retrospect, I look back and I think, I should have never done that. Yeah. And a lot of times, what I should have done was just said no at the very beginning, right? And so I learned a lot from that. But what I learned is that my dimming my light doesn't make it better. It makes it worse. It makes it worse. And so if I can remain grounded and centered, we can actually have those calmer conversations, right? Even though the other person may not be grounded and centered, many times all we have to do is walk into the room and we start helping to shift that energy without even saying a word, because we're calm, we're centered, and we're grounded, and we start to shift the energy in the room. Yeah. All right. And Stephanie is saying that is the vital in the deaf community. If you leave the room to go to the bathroom, it is polite to express that immediately. Yeah. Yeah. And where I learned that life lesson, was about working in the university system here in Wisconsin, and working in the affirmative action sort of. It wasn't affirmative action. It was, I can't remember the title of it. It's back in the 80s. Because I was a recruiter. I went to reservations here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee and Madison to recruit Native American and Hispanic students to the campus. And so in the department I worked in, sometimes it was a lot of prejudice and racist kinds of things going on. And even though it's an educational institution, that stuff still happens there. And so, if you're sitting in a meeting with other departments and things are being said, if you stand up and walk out, chances are more than 50% a chance is that they're going to believe that you're in agreement because you didn't say anything. Yeah. I learned that one the hard way. Oh my gosh. All right. So, but Kyle asked a lot of good questions here. How can you redirect the conversation to love? How can you help shift that energy? Right? Yeah. Shifting conversations. I should have a PhD in that one. Yeah, learning how to shift that conversation so that it has a higher frequency or vibration to it. Yeah. Or basically, and I've said that often, is just stop. Notice what you just said and how you said it. Just, is that really how you meant it? Let's just be clear. Yeah. So a lot of it is communication. And the second card that came, now we've had the Shield Maiden multiple times. The Shield Maiden says make plans and focus. Make plans and focus. So when you couple it with these two cards, is that we're being asked to stand in the light, is to be the light. We're not trying to do anything. We are being the light. And how do we use that light? Make a plan and focus. You have choices to make. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? The Shield Maiden. We've had her so often. I want to say this is like the 8th or 9th time that she's come up since the end of September. So she has a lot to say to us, really emphasizing her essence in this card. So the message is have a plan or strategy in place before moving forward. The Shield Maiden is the female knight in shining armor. In the Viking traditions, women were seen as equal to men, and so joined them on their raids and fought with them on the battlefield. In this deck, the Shield Maiden brings a fiercely feminine energy, the power to be a warrior while retaining feminine sensitivity. Taking some time to assess what your next steps will be, all great warriors have a plan. You are a sensitive being, and if you're not prepared for the tasks you're taking on, you could end up feeling exposed and helpless. The ancestor guidance is that it's coming to you now is a reminder that you have a warrior's heart and that you have it within you to be more prepared and focused than you have been recently. So have a strategy in place and then let your guides support you as you move forward. All right, so when we're talking about being in the light and removing yourself from lower vibrational situations, right, is to have a plan. We were just talking about that. Have a plan and how you're going to do that. We're just starting the holiday season, right? And it can be a very stressful time for people and situations. And so when have your game plan, right? Have your game plan. And what's that called? The safe word? Yeah. You know, what if you have a partner, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, right? Have a word that will help you take you out of that situation, either one of you. You know, and it could be a nonsensical word. It's just the two of you, so that you know that if you say this word, that means that you're done. You can't do any more, and that you need to leave, right? Yeah. So have a plan. Be grounded. Go in grounded. In fact, my suggestion is to do your grounding, your clearing, and your centering twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. And if you're going into a situation, whether it's with family or whether it's the office party, is to go in with your being grounded, centered, balanced, and in some cases, shields up. You should have your shields up anyway, but shields up, right? And that way you can relax. You can relax, and you know your spiritual team's got your back. They've got your back. So have a plan and focus on it. Does that make sense? That's what I'm getting anyway. Is that we're given some lead time on this. Notice we did not get these cards on November 20. What is it? When is Thanksgiving? The 22nd. We didn't get it, the day before Thanksgiving. We got it a few days ahead of time, and so that you can put your plan together, strategize. It's a spiritual plan. You can still be kind. You can still shine your light, but have your plan so that you're protected, and you can do this. Yeah. And so when Uncle Joe starts talking about politics, and he might be a conservative, right? And you're not, or the people around him are not, and how those conversations can go. And so you have your plan, because Uncle Joe is still lovable at a soul level. He loves you dearly, and you love him. It's all this other stuff that gets in the way. So have a plan. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? And Stephanie goes, yeah, for emotional safe words. Yes. Because, as empaths, right? As empaths, part of that gift is that we can take those feelings and emotions that are probably lower vibrational, and we can transmute them. We transmute them. That's part of the gift. We don't allow them to take up residence, but we allow them to be able to pass through us so that we can shift them and release them. And when you have a plan in place, knowing how you can use your gift in a good way and not detrimental to yourself, yeah, you can shine your light. You can be that beacon. And let me tell you, you'll draw a crowd, right? People will want to be with you. Why? Because you're calm, you're centered. So then you even have to put that into your plan, because it can be overwhelming after a while. That it's like I gotta go outside. I'm going to take a walk around the block. I'm going to go play with the kids outside, or go color if the weather's bad, right? Have a plan. That's what I'm getting. It's kind of nice, actually. Yeah. So you can, when you have your plan in place, you can relax, and you can be the light. You can be in the light. Yeah. And if you've never done that before, and you've, what is it? The Scottish say in Scotland, you took to the hills and heather. I think that's what it is. It means that you booked, right? If you've done that in the past, maybe this is a situation now that you're going to practice and apply your gifts, apply your skills, talents, your education, all those classes that you've taken, spiritual classes, right? It's time to apply it. Yeah. And so if those lower vibrational times occur, and you've worked your plan and you've had it up to here, do your emotional safe word and say, I'm done. Put a fork in me. I'm done. I'm going to go home. And when you get home, part of your plan, please have in place, is to maybe smudge yourself, whether it's with white sage or with cedar or the spray, essential oils, flower essences. Maybe take an Epsom salt bath or a nice shower, and then do your protection again. Right? Get grounded again. Yeah. So that's all about self-care too, right? Yeah. This is a good card read. This is the Shield Maiden, who keeps popping up weekly. She's really wanting us to get our plan into place. The plan in place. And it doesn't have to be a complicated plan. It can be a very simple and straightforward plan. Very workable, right? Very workable. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, that's for sure. You guys are going to have to share how your plan, how it worked out for you, and what you learned. What went well, what didn't, what do you need to change for the next time? Yeah, that's about growth, isn't it? Yeah. All right. We are at the top of the hour. I say this every day, take whatever resonated with you and leave behind anything that didn't in what we said today, right? The things that we shared about. Take what resonated, pick it up, embrace it, use it. Especially if you're a direct participant in how the energy is unfolding. If you're a witness, you can still use it. We're always learning, no matter what, right? And if it didn't resonate with you at all, don't worry about it. It's okay. Nobody's feelings are going to get hurt. Nobody. And you can just let it lie, and it's okay. Perhaps you are a messenger. You know somebody who would like this kind of conversation, or the things that were shared. Maybe they were looking for information about it, and you can just share the link with them with the recording, right? That's all you have to do. So, what's coming up? Coming up on Monday. Monday is we have the Tarot Journey with Julie Hedges at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then right after her is the Paul Krauss Show, and he's on at 10 p.m. Eastern this time around. Usually he's on before Julie, but because his guest Francis Robbins needed to have a later start, we switched the show to after Julie's. Okay, so it's 10 p.m. Eastern for the Paul Krauss Show. And then Tuesday is the Chakra Sessions with Polly Jo LeBay at noon Eastern. And then we have this live stream at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday night is my weekly show, Communications from Home, and that's on at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I have a guest this coming Tuesday, Karen Crowley-Suzani. She's one of our contributing writers, and she knows a heck of a lot about earth energies and sacred sites. And so we're going to be talking about that on Tuesday night. And Wednesday, Polly Jo's back with Soul Connections, and that's at 7 p.m. So join us for any one of those shows or all of them. That'd be great. All right. With that, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, for posting that link. I'm not sure. What is that to? Can't really tell. It's a long link. Yeah, but enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you back here tomorrow afternoon for tomorrow's cards and energy for the day. Yeah, Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Okay, love you guys.